And welcome to Stacklebeck on Terror. Well, we were told that the so-called Arab Spring would mean the dawn of democracy in the Muslim Middle East. Tyranny would be rejected, Islamic extremism shown the door, human rights would be respected, women would have dignity, and relations with the West would be nice and cozy. The oceans would rise and the planet would heal, right, Mr. President? Well, it hasn't quite worked out that way. Despite the best efforts of the Obama administration and the New York Times editorial board, it's become brutally obvious over the past few months that the undisputed champion of the Arab Spring / Islamist winter is, drumroll please, the Muslim Brotherhood. Let's survey the damage. Egypt, the Brotherhood's main power base, is well on its way to becoming an Islamic state. In recent parliamentary elections, the Brotherhood won 40% of the vote, and an even more extreme Islamist party won 25%. And mind you, that was in the more liberal districts of Cairo and Alexandria. There's still 2 more rounds of voting to go, and I'm sure Israel is thrilled. Over in Tunisia, same deal. Elections were held, and voila, the Islamists won and now control that government. Same deal in Morocco, which now has an Islamist prime minister. And remember, Morocco and Tunisia are arguably the most moderate of all the Arab states. It's the same all across the board. If elections are held in Libya, hardcore Islamists will undoubtedly win. Same deal in Yemen. And the Syrian opposition that is opposing Bashar al-Assad is littered with Islamists as well. Meanwhile, King Abdullah over in Jordan is quaking in his boots and ready to give Islamists a bigger role in his government. Notice a pattern here? The Middle East is on fire for the Brotherhood and Sharia rule. But anyone who's watched this show over the past year and a half knows that the Brotherhood has plans far beyond the Middle East. My CBN colleague Dale Hurd recently traveled to Norway, where he got a hold of exclusive footage from a documentary about the Brotherhood's plan for global domination. Now, before Dale obtained it, this film had never been seen on American television. Here's more.
The so-called Arab Spring in the Middle East has brought the Muslim Brotherhood to the threshold of power and influence. But the Middle East is not the only place where the Muslim Brotherhood is vying for power. A Norwegian journalist who did a film about the Muslim Brotherhood went to the Middle East and spoke with the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood. And they told him they have a long-term plan to take over Norway and the rest of Europe, as part of bringing the whole world under Islam. Walid al-Qubaisi is a Norwegian journalist from Iraq who produced and hosted a documentary for Norwegian TV called Freedom, Equality, and the Muslim Brotherhood. It has never been shown on American TV.
The Muslim brothers have a practice. They learn to speak with 2 tongues.
Al-Qubaisi interviewed Kamil al-Najjar, who left the Muslim Brotherhood and is now under threat of death.
Okay, they're trying to deceive the people, and they have managed to deceive a lot of Western politicians into believing them. Their only aim is to control the world with Islam. They know they cannot use force to convert the West, so they use deceit.
But if you travel to the Middle East and you speak Arabic, the Muslim Brotherhood leadership is quite open about what it intends. Mohammed Madia Kef was the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood until 2010.
The Muslim Brotherhood's dream is to form a total Islamic state.
Walid asked him where.
I don't know. We Muslims are currently scattered all over. There is still a long way to go before we are able to take control in Europe. It will take a long time before it can happen.
Al-Qubaisi also interviewed Gamal al-Banna, the brother of the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood in 1928, Hassan al-Banna. And he had surprisingly harsh words for the modern Muslim Brotherhood movement, saying it does not believe in freedom.
Not in any way. They do not believe in freedom at all. There is no Islamic authority that respects freedom or democracy.
Al-Banna also condemned the state of modern Islamic culture.
The Muslim mind is rusty. It has done nothing for the last 1,000 years. 1,000 years ago, the innovation ended. What does that mean? It means that you act without thinking. Muslims have become like monkeys, only imitating others. This has lasted 1,000 years.
Al-Banna says the Brotherhood has instituted the wearing of the hijab or headscarf by Muslim women as a means of social control, and says it's not supported by the Quran. Even the sister of the Muslim Brotherhood founder did not wear a hijab. Class photos from Cairo University show the evolution of the Muslim Brotherhood's program to force women to wear the hijab. In 1959, no Muslim women are wearing headscarves, and none in 1978. By 2004, 90% of the women are wearing the headscarf. The headscarf has been called the Muslim Brotherhood's logo. Walid al-Kubaisi says Norway and the West have been duped by the Muslim Brotherhood.
The West and America, both, supported Islamists, and they thought that, oh, they are religious, exactly our Christian congregation.
One of the Brotherhood's key spiritual leaders, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi, said on Arabic TV, defeating Rome, Italy, and Europe means that Islam will come back to Europe. I believe Islam will conquer Europe without using violence.
The Muslim Brotherhood, they don't, it's not like, okay, we will take over the world and the power, and no, not like this. They don't speak about power at all. They say, okay, now we want only this, and then this, and then this. And then they start to work to gain more power.
Dale Hurd, CBN News in Oslo, Norway.
So the Muslim Brotherhood's plan is no less than world domination. That would include America. Yes, folks, they're here. And you won't believe the foothold they've gained in the U.S. government. Check it out. The final chapter of the so-called Arab Spring has yet to be written. Yet more and more it appears that radical Islamic forces could emerge as the big winners, and none more so than the Muslim Brotherhood. In Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Syria, and Jordan, the Brotherhood has used unrest to increase its influence. According to one expert, the group is also making inroads closer to home.
Their goal is primarily deception, manipulation, and intelligence gathering.
Former FBI Special Agent John Guandalo says Brotherhood operatives have infiltrated the halls of power in Washington, D.C.
What we're seeing inside not just the White House, but inside the government entities, the national security entities, State Department, a strong push by the Muslim Brotherhood to get their people in.
Chief among these operatives, he says, is the Islamic Society of North America, or ISNA. In 2007, ISNA was named as a co-conspirator in the largest terrorism financing trial in American history. Likewise, the FBI has uncovered internal Muslim Brotherhood documents naming ISNA as, quote, one of our organizations and the organizations of our friends. Nevertheless, when President Obama wanted a Muslim to pray at his inauguration, his administration turned to ISNA's then president, Ingrid Mattson. And at a recent White House iftar dinner, current ISNA head Mohammed Majid sat just a few feet away from the president.
Mohammed Majid was sitting at the front table right in front of Barack Obama, but when the official White House list of attendees was published, his name was curiously missing.
Another American Muslim group that's been linked to both the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas is the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR. The FBI refuses to meet with CAIR over its ties to terrorism. But top White House advisor Valerie Jarrett recently praised the group for taking part in an MTV anti-bullying campaign.
The U.S. government knows that these are Muslim Brotherhood operatives because federal prosecutors have gone into federal court and said that they're Muslim Brotherhood operatives.
One such operative is Kifa Mustafa. In 2010, he was given a tour of both FBI headquarters and the National Counterterrorism Center, despite long-standing ties to the terror group Hamas. Hamas identifies itself as the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood.
We know that the Muslim Brotherhood, from their own documents, has said that they've wanted to infiltrate all layers of government and civil society here in America to destroy it from within.
Now, if you think that's bad, and oh, it is, you haven't seen anything yet. Coming up after the break, I'll show you how a radical Islamist is actually advising our government on counterterrorism. Yes, the fox is guarding the henhouse. You won't want to miss this one. Stay tuned. And welcome back. As an advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, Mohammed El-Biari was given access to sensitive government documents. Now this Texas Muslim activist stands accused of leaking some of those documents to the media to spread charges of Islamophobia. I would have never guessed. Thankfully, one lawmaker on Capitol Hill is demanding answers. Watch this. Out of 26 members on the Department of Homeland Security's Advisory Council, only Mohammed El-Biari gained access to a nationwide database that includes terror watch lists and sensitive FBI reports. It's unclear why El-Biari was granted this special privilege, but he now finds himself in hot water. He's accused of taking confidential documents from the Texas Department of Public Safety and shopping them to the media. His reported goal: damage Governor and presidential candidate Rick Perry by showing the so-called Islamophobia of Texas government agencies.
Within hours of getting access, he had downloaded those documents and began marketing to these publications.
Investigative journalist Patrick Poole broke the story after being tipped off by one of the publications about El-Biari's alleged plans.
Oddly enough, El-Biari sits on the Texas Department of Public Safety Advisory Council, so this was his own, his own agency that he was sabotaging.
El-Biari is no stranger to controversy. In 2004, he spoke at a Texas conference honoring Iran's notorious Ayatollah Khomeini as a great Islamic visionary. He's written in praise of one of the most influential Islamic radicals of the modern era, former Muslim Brotherhood leader Sayyid Qutb, and he's spoken out against the prosecution of Hamas fundraisers in the U.S. Yet El-Biari has marketed himself as a moderate expert on Muslim de-radicalization, and the U.S. government has taken notice. In 2010, he was named to a working group that helped shape the Obama administration's counterterrorism strategy. Later, Homeland Security Director Janet Napolitano swore him in as part of her advisory council.
You read his writings, he is defending Qutb. This is a guy that Osama bin Laden referred to and studied to give him a basis for his acts of violence. And she puts a guy on Homeland Security Advisory Committee, gives him a secret clearance.
Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert wants an investigation into the El-Biari leak case. He grilled Napolitano about it on Capitol Hill last month.
You have that investigated yourself, and if so, by whom?
Well, since I don't know the facts, I'll have to look into the facts.
Okay. So you'll be the one to make that call?
We'll have somebody, it'll be myself or someone.
Gohmert told CBN News the El-Biari incident reflects a larger problem of radical Islamists, including some link to the Muslim Brotherhood, advising the U.S. government on its counterterrorism policies.
Bringing in Muslim Brotherhood to the inner sanctum, saying, look, they like us. This means peace in our time. And what they're doing is subjecting this nation to real danger.
We can't say we haven't been warned. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Stacklebeck on Terror. And remember to keep it right here as we report on the advancing global jihad that's in your backyard. Take care. God bless.